Thanks to all presenters again. So this is a great compilation of video recordings and virtual Zoom presentations and in-person presentations. So I guess we are really testing the limit of what we can do in a hybrid conference. So, so now it's the Q&A sessions for the 6 papers you just heard. So if you have any questions, you can either type in the chat box or raise your hand on site, or even just unmute yourself to ask in Zoom. So maybe to kick off the Q&A session, I saw the presenter of the first paper, Drayden, is here. So I actually have a quick question for Drayden. Hi, Drayden.
Yeah, what's up? How's it going?
So I saw in the paper you used the multi-channel audio. Just curious, have you done any experiments to see the effect of how many channels you use on the effect of the experiments, or which channels you use in your experiments?
Yeah, we tried with 2 and 8. We didn't try with 1. I don't know how well that would work. But yeah, we tried with 2 and 8, and there was a little bit of a difference with 8 being a little bit better, I think, but not huge difference. But I do think maybe the 1 would be interesting, although probably that would be worse. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I have another question for the presenter, for Jen, of the second paper. So I think it's very cool, Jen, for the paper you show on the human in the loop generation of spatial audio from videos with mono audio. You can just have this human in the loop to create the locations of the sound sources, and so that you can have better kind of sound effect. I wonder, have you considered the effects of the environments? Because I see you have these positions of maybe the sound sources, but also there are effects of the environment of the surfaces, right? I mean, if you are doing human in the loop, maybe you can consider to annotate the surfaces, or maybe that's what you already done.
Yeah, totally. That's a really good question. And to be honest, that's one thing that I pointed out specifically in my future work. So yes, right now in our system, one of the limitations that we didn't consider propagation process, since we're thinking about this is actually another big problem, how to model or simulate the propagation of the sound in a specific scene. I was saying. Yeah, but from the human-centered design way, if we can actually model the propagation, the sound during this process, it will be much better for giving people an immersive experience, that's for sure. And yeah, that's gonna definitely be our future work.
Yeah, that would be very cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
So any questions from the live audience on site?
Questions? Hey, thanks for the great talks. I had a quick question about for Andrew about the sound localization with the self-supervised time delay. I was just curious, did you compare, or were you able to tell if you had videos that were just like 2 microphones on a device like a phone versus like a recording of someone with binaural microphones in their ears, and like if there was some effect of the head shadow that you'd get with the binaural microphones versus on the device?
Thanks for the great question. We didn't investigate any systematic differences between those 2 different types of recording. I get the impression that IID cues are probably more susceptible to the head shadow, because which is this other cue that says, how much louder is the sound in one ear than the other. But I expect that it would probably still be an effect there. All of our evaluation was on binaural sound, except for the qualitative examples I showed. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Any other questions from the audience? Yeah, maybe I have another question for Sagnik, the last presentation. I wonder, I think it's a very cool task to do this active source separations. We usually see this audio-visual source separation in videos, right? Because we actually want to hear about the sound sources of these individual components of a violin or a piano. But this, in this embodied learning setting, I think it's a very cool task. But do you think it's separation actually really necessary for understanding of the sound sources for embodied AI agents? Or do you see how this can be helpful, or how this task is going to be useful for embodied AI?
Yeah, that's a good question. But I mean, in a real world scenario, what might happen is that like the separator, like a model, like on a system may not always be close to the target source, right? So like trying to even navigate to that source to do the separation could be useful like for this kind of a setting. And another thing is that like in a 3D setting, always like standing right next to the target always doesn't help if there are like other sound sources around. So like knowing how to move around to go to like a quieter place where you can better separate. Yeah, in that case also this could help. Does it answer your question?
Okay. Yeah, that answers my question. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
And we have another question from the Zoom audience, Yifeng. Yifeng, do you want to ask a question? Or I can just repeat the question.
My question is, what is the goal of the agent for the last presentation?
Oh yeah, so the goal of the moving agent to like is to separate a target sound source from the binaural mixture, and we train the agent using a reward which kind of it's a high reward if the separation error is low for the target source, and it's a low reward if the separation error is high for the target source. Does that answer the question?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, cool. Any other questions from the audience? Okay, if not, let's maybe thank all the speakers again. And now we are going to have a short coffee break, and let's get together again at 11:45. See you later. Thank you.
Thank you.